Hello, welcome to the very first live lesson of 2022. So the first thing I want to say is Happy New Year. And because it's a new year, I thought it would be appropriate for this first live lesson if we kind of take just a step back and look in the rearview mirror and talk about some of the new words from 2021. We're going to talk about new English words that were really, they were added to some of the English dictionaries. Now, the first thing I want to say, this is just a fun, casual lesson. It's not always exact because some of the words and phrases that I'm going to share with you have been added to some dictionaries and maybe they have not been added to others. So these are not words that I would say, oh, you need to go out and use them right away. I think it's good for your comprehension. And I tried to choose words that I think will kind of have a future and they may be continued. People will continue using them in the future. That's kind of what I tried to do. Now, before we start and I show these words to you, I just want to give you one last reminder because this is the last call. If you would like to join my speaking course, there's like 48 hours left. Classes are going to begin this next week. It's all about helping you speak confidently, speak clearly, speak naturally. You can check out the link in the description. It'll take you right here to this course page that gives you a lot of information about the course, like what's included, how it works, as well as like right here, the cost for, it's an 8-week course, classes once a week. The cost is $159, you can see right here, but you can use the special code SPEAK22 to get a 22% discount off the course. So check that out. Link is in the description down below. I'll even add it right here in the chat just for quick little reference right here. So this is the last call. If you are interested in speaking with me and improving your skills. I see some people like Takayo, hello, also has participated in the Speak Up course. Welcome. I also want to say hello, Gustav. Good to see you here. Hope Vicky is feeling better. Sleepwalker, Angela, Lolly, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'll give more shout outs as we go through the lesson because I'm going to be asking you guys questions to see kind of how familiar you are with some of these words. Now, I mentioned that this is kind of just a fun, casual lesson. I took these words from a couple of different sites, like this one right here. This is the first one. It's not exact. I'll link these as well down in the comments. This is from Reader's Digest. 25 new words added to the dictionary for 2021, as well as this site right here from Pearson, 10 new English words for 2021. Again, I'll leave that down in the description as well if you'd like to just see more of the words from the list, okay? So let's begin, all right, we're talking about new words of 2021 if you're just joining us right now. And the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to give you the definition, let you see if you can think of the word, and then I'll tell you the answer, okay? So the first one that I have for you is this right here. So this is the definition. It's a person who shows extraordinary skill or expertise in a specified field or endeavor. I believe this was added to Merriam-Webster dictionary. The picture right there is a hint, okay? That is a clear hint as to what this word is. So let me know in the chat if you think you know what word that I'm talking about, okay? So I think thinking about the picture, again, very famous movie, and thinking about the definition, I think some of you would be able to come up with the word. It's a very popular word from the movie. I see, Master, you're kind of close. That's not what we're looking for. It's the name of like a type of person. What would you call it? I'll give you a few more seconds, and then I'll tell you what the answer is. Okay. So no, it's not an astronaut. This is from the movie Star Wars. Okay. And yes, excellent, good job, Sam. The answer that we're looking for, it's from the movie Star Wars, is a Jedi. So if you haven't seen the movie, then obviously I would not expect you to know this. But if you are familiar with the movie, the Star Wars series, and they talk about the Jedi Masters, so kind of masters, a little similar, but the Jedi is the people that have the extraordinary skills or ability. So again, somebody might use this casually and say like, wow, they're just like a Jedi to show that this person is very talented in some way. So again, I think it shows you also how the language is changing and evolving, and how even like pop culture kind of gets its way in there. So this is from Star Wars. All right. The next one, let's see, is this one right here. Here we go. Okay, and this one I think is probably, if you watch the news a lot, I think this is probably a phrase that you've heard. So I'll read the definition in case it's you're having trouble seeing it with the picture and the text. So this is talking about a person who works temporary jobs, typically in the service sector, as an independent contractor or a freelancer. And again, I'm trying to give you a hint with the picture so you can see that person holding a phone and it says Uber. So for example, Uber drivers would be considered like as having this type of job. So there's one word that's very common with it. It's actually a phrase. And we'll see. I'll explain it once I tell you the answer. But again, I think this is a little challenging. It is going to be a little difficult. Again, this is a fun lesson. I'm not saying you need to go out and use these words, but I think these are words that you may hear from time to time. I think I said the news for this one because I think governments are trying to figure out, well, how should these employees be treated? If this is what the type of job they have, how do we pay them? Do they get benefits? So it's part of the conversation. All right, so let's see. Any guesses? See, some people were putting in Jedi for that last one. That was good. All right, it's good. Some good guesses. So interesting. No, sleepwalk, not downshifter. It is a freelance job, but that's not what you would call these people. I say Uber in particular because there was a big court case not court case, there was a big referendum in California that they were talking about this. Close, not Jane, entrepreneur, contractor. Again, remember, think about it. These are words that are kind of just being added to some of the dictionaries. So some of the words you guys are given, that would describe these type of people. But those words are already in the dictionaries, and we've been using them for a while. So the answer that I'm looking for, all right, well, the new word, the phrase that was added, is a gig worker. So you might hear people talk about a gig worker as somebody who has a temporary job. You might hear people talk about the gig economy, which is another collocation that you have different businesses in which they hire just like these temporary jobs. So like I said, like Uber drivers would be considered gig workers. They can work whenever they want. They control their hours, how often they work. And that is like, that would be considered a gig worker. Typically the word gig, if somebody were just to look that up, it means that you have a job, and often people would use it when talking about like music. And somebody who plays music and they get offered a job and they say, yeah, I have a gig Saturday night, in which case that they are going to be doing a performance. So gig, I think, is often associated with that. But now, with all of these businesses hiring temporary workers, they would be called like gig workers. All right, the next one. So I'm guessing you guys are learning some new words and phrases, which is good. But again, like I said, this is really just for your comprehension. You can listen for these words, but you don't have to go out and actually use them. Some people said, Samitra said gig worker. Excellent, perfect. And so asks, can it be used anywhere? I would say these are words and phrases probably that are more taken from like American English in the United States, even though I feel like places like the UK, Australia, Canada, people would also be familiar with them. This next one, it's not a word I was familiar with, all right? I've included it because it has to do with social media And so many people use social media nowadays, and they're connected through social media. So I thought this would be a fun one to share with you. Even though, like I said, I was not familiar with this word, I'm curious to see if any of you know it. But the meaning of this is it's reading the news on social media and expecting it to be bad so much that you become obsessed with looking at updates. All right. And you're just, I guess you're always on like Facebook and just going through there, looking at updates, expecting it to be bad, which I think many times a lot of stuff on social media is rather negative. But what would you call this? All right, I'll be very impressed if any of you get this, because like I said, I was unfamiliar with this. I had no idea that this word exists. And some of you, wow. CSB knocked it out of the park. Yes. All right. So I'll just tell you the answer because somebody got it. Debbie Downer, that's a good one, is talking about a person who I think is like always kind of down or upset. And you'd say somebody is a Debbie Downer. In this case, wow, you guys like young 233, excellent. Wow, I'm impressed. The answer is doom scrolling. And I was not familiar with this. And I think I understand where it comes from, because if you're using social media, you're scrolling through those updates. And if you're scrolling through them expecting to just find bad, negative things, then you think of the word doom, like everything's bad. So this is referred to as doom scrolling. And some of you, wow, you got that. I'm very, very impressed. Kudos to you guys. The next one, I'll tell you if I'm familiar with the words as well. And this is one that I think that I'm familiar with, that I think has been used again quite often nowadays, especially when you're talking about like news and what's happening in with different people and activities. And well, let's just look at the definition and then you try to think of the answer. So this is the practice or tendency of engaging in mass canceling as a way of expressing disapproval and exerting social pressure. So this is a phrase, okay? It's 2 words. And this is a phrase, like I said, that I think has become a lot more commonly used probably in the last 5 years. And it's become popular enough at this point at which it's being added to some of the dictionaries, which I think is appropriate, because I imagine this is a phrase again that people will continue to use it as we move forward. So what do you think this is talking about? I'll give you a hint that in the definition, the phrase uses one of those words. Okay, the practice or tendency of engaging in mass canceling as a way of expressing disapproval and exerting social pressure. So there are some correct answers. Excellent. Sam, Angela, I can't read your name right below Angela, but that's okay. Yes, that's correct. What I'm talking about, the phrase, it's referring to cancel culture. And I say that you would probably hear this more if you're watching the news, things that are happening with society. And if somebody says something or they do something that's not acceptable, people, will get angry. They'll express their disapproval and maybe try to put pressure on maybe a company so that this person loses their job. And this whole idea is referring to cancel culture. And some people are really against it. Some people are for it. It really just depends on the situation. But once again, this is something that I think is happening more often nowadays, which is a phrase that I think you will hear people talking about. When this goes on, they're referring to cancel culture. Excellent. Perfect. Nietzsche, hello. You're new to the channel. Welcome. Excellent. Always love hearing new people. If you're new, tell me. Just write your name in the chat or even in the comments. Tell me where you're from. Always love hearing from new people. So this is another one that I wanted to include because I do think it's a little more common, something that's been going on over the years. I didn't know that it was not a part of the dictionary. I assumed that this word was, but I think some dictionaries have started to add it as it's become more accepted and more practice. So the practice is you obtain needed funding, typically like for starting a business, by asking for like contributions from like a large group of people, mostly from an online community. And what's that called? What is that practice called? If I have some idea for some product and I need money to develop the product and then manufacture the product and then try to sell it, and I'm trying to raise money online, asking for people to donate and contribute, what's that practice called? So it's not, again, think of it this way, that you're not, what was I trying to say? Like, again, some of you are throwing down words that I think are already part of the dictionary. So wait, Jane says a scam. I guess it could be a scam, sure. It just depends. Like donate, it's kind of like donating, but not really. Again, yes, ZSB, excellent. Gustav, Vicky, perfect. Takayo, Nietzsche, Natalia, you guys got it. So the answer, we're talking about crowdfunding, is what this practice is. If you are trying to raise money, typically to start a business, and you're getting people to contribute and donate online. I think another part of crowdfunding is like when you, I've never done this or I've been a part of it, but I think like when you do this and you give money, it's like you will get maybe the product in return. And it's like you're getting not like a sample, but kind of like a prototype. It's just starting out. So it's not like just like you're giving just a donation and you're never going to see that money back. I think typically with crowdfunding, you do get something for contributing to the business. The next one, all right, let's keep moving along. This is something that I had no idea about, but I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to share it with you guys, okay? So we're talking about, it's an informal way. This is what the online dictionary had. An informal way of responding to, challenging, or disparaging the claim or opinion of someone, usually used in the phrase "don't me." So from what I was reading about this is that people would use this phrase, "don't me," and that's the missing word. That's this new word. Well, kind of new word that has been added to the dictionaries. Don't me. And the other hint that I would give you, I gave you a keyboard there for two reasons. Thinking about like this is something you will find on the keyboard, but also I think it would be more commonly used when you're referring to like social media, and you're telling somebody that maybe you don't want to be a part of this conversation, or you don't want to be a part of this topic that they're talking about. You say, "don't me." Okay? He said, "Don't hit me." No, not hit. I'll give you a hint because this is challenging. I told you I never heard of this before. I've never heard anybody use it. I just thought it was fascinating, showing how the language is changing. We're talking about a symbol. Okay, there's your hint right there. And that's why I gave you the keyboard in that picture. It is a symbol on the keyboard. So what symbol would you use that you could complete and use that phrase? Don't me. All right, it's a new, again, you guess you could say word, but again, I just told you it's not a word, it's a symbol. What would go in that blank? Think about social media. All right, what do you have to do in order to include someone in on your conversation or discussion? What do you need to do on social media? All right, people like don't shift, no, point, no, bother me. Yeah, I mean, obviously people say, yeah, don't bother me. That is in the dictionary. Ghost, no. Okay, maybe you'll find this interesting. I did, which is why I've included it. At, all right? So I told you that if you want to include somebody else in something that's happening, like challenge or responding to somebody online, you would put at and then their username, and then they will receive some notification, or like they'll be added to the conversation. And in this case, like it's like you're telling somebody, I don't want to be, don't at me, is the way you would use it. And I think that's how it's often used. Again, I've never heard this being used, but I wanted to include it because, again, it's like the language is changing a little more. It made me think of the other symbol, hashtag, which became very popular with Twitter, and kind of like creating like this environment for a conversation to take place. And you would add a hashtag, and it's like that symbol kind of, it became a word added to the dictionary, and now at is the same way. So yeah, don't at me. Exactly. That's the way you would put it. Don't at me. And I guess you're telling somebody, don't include me in part of this conversation. Okay, the next one. The next word that has been added, I think this was also, I think many of these were added mostly to Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Something that seems true, but isn't backed up by evidence. I've included this, well, truth, because it's part of the word. And apparently, from what I was reading about this word, is that it started getting traction because Stephen Colbert, who hosts a late night show, began using this word, I think just playfully joking around. And then over the years, because he's continued using it, I guess other people have started using it, and it's gotten to the point where now it has been added to some dictionary. And it's not a word that I have ever used, but I wanted to include it, just giving you that backstory. And I think because of the meaning and things that are going on with misinformation, I think this is a word that you might hear people continue to use in the future. So something that seems to be true, but it's not backed by real evidence. All right, what do you think? All right, excellent. Some of you got this one. Perfect. ZSB. Wow. Close. ADDL. You got it right. That's true. So we're talking about the word that he was using is truthiness. Truthiness. And again, truth is a noun. Truthiness would also be a noun. So it's kind of like not really a similar meaning. Truth is like, yes, that this is fact. Truthiness would just be like, well, it seems to be fact, but really there's no evidence to support it. Another reason why I wanted to share this word is because you have that suffix at the end. And this is a way in which people are constantly modifying the language, and the language is evolving. So you think of like a word like happy. It's an adjective, but happiness, we change it into a noun. So in this case, truth again is a noun. Your truthiness, it's like you're changing it into another noun that has a slightly different meaning. But I think I wanted to point that out, the way people use suffixes to kind of modify the language. This is something that Shakespeare did quite often, and a lot of the words that he was using at that time became very common words nowadays. The next one is we're talking about words added in 2021. Of course, the pandemic has been a large part of conversation the last couple of years, and there are words that have come out of that. And I think this is one that's also kind of related to the pandemic. The meaning, you can see, not having to physically touch or interact with people. All right, what would you say? If you have any guesses? Again, this is not a word that I was familiar with. It's not a word that I've used. I understand it because, again, this one also uses a suffix to kind of modify a word that I think is pretty well known. So the meaning is not having to physically touch or interact with people. All right. what would you say? Again, remember these are all words that are being added new to the dictionary. So some of the words, I think you have the same. You're on the right track, but like words like isolation, they're already a part of the dictionary. Um, let's see. We have groundless. All right, so no, not the ghosting. So this social distance again. That was a phrase that I think was added last year. Even remote. That's another phrase. FaceTime them. Um, so what we're talking about is, well, I'll show you the word, and then I think you'll understand it because I said this is another example of a suffix being added that changes it. We're just saying contactless. So you're taking the word contact and you're adding less, which is a suffix that means without. So it's really like you're saying that, oh, it's without contact. So maybe you're saying like, yeah, like this, we're going to have like this concert, but it's going to be contactless. That you're not going to have to physically touch or interact with other people. There's going to be distance between them. So once again, we're using this suffix to modify a word that is already there. And I think you could do this with a lot of different words. And you may hear people do this informally. So for example, just giving you an example, wanting to use less again. If I were to say like, oh, I don't have a pen. I'm like a pen like this, even though I do have one. If I say I don't have a pen, I'm penless. I'm without a pen. So I think less is a common suffix that people will use to, say that they're without something. But in this case, I guess it's become common enough that it's been added to the dictionary. All right, so sticking on that theme of like kind of the pandemic and the influence that it's had, this is another, I think, example that's become, this is a phrase that it's been abbreviated. And the abbreviation, I guess, has been added to the dictionary. I was very familiar with the phrase. I didn't know, I had never used it as an abbreviation, but again, I think I'm kind of behind the times when it comes to using abbreviations. So the hint is the picture. So this is an abbreviation for what is this person doing in the picture? So that my question is like, what is this person doing? It's about the picture. So what's happening in this picture? All right. And then maybe think of the abbreviation that could go along with that. All right. What do you think? Any guesses? All right. So, hello, Rodrigo from Brazil. How are you? All right. Excellent. So yeah, I think you guys are actually doing pretty well guessing some of these. And again, if you're just joining us, we're talking about new words that have been added to the dictionaries in 2021. Things that are going on, and they kind of, we end up adding these new words. So this one, like, what is this person doing in the picture? And then see if you can kind of extrapolate the abbreviation from that. Okay? Close, like interviewing, cropping, FBing, I'm guessing like Facebooking, like close. I think you got kind of on the right side. So the phrase, yes, ZSB got it. Wow, ZSB, that's impressive. You got quite a few of these. Googling, all right, that's a good guess. I guess what I was trying to get with this picture, this person is working, but where are they? They're at home. So they're working from home. And that's a phrase that I think has become very common, talking about especially some of the changes because of the pandemic. More people are working from home. And I guess instead of saying the entire phrase, people have just begun to abbreviate it and they just say WFH. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with the abbreviation. I've heard people talk about work from home. It's something that I think many of you have heard about. And I guess it's become so popular that people will just say WFH instead of having to say work from home. Or probably, I think, more in the context of maybe if you're writing an informal email or sending a text message, this is when people will typically more likely abbreviate things. All right, so I think you guys kind of got that. Excellent. Who else? Zera Al-Hadi. Excellent. Good job. Some people said remote work. That's also, it's kind of the same, a similar thing. Remote, you can kind of do anywhere. You might not be at home. You could be at a coffee shop. But that's also a very similar idea. So this is, let me give you the definition. This is a phrase that I've used before. I didn't realize that it's something that was maybe just added to the dictionaries. But we're talking about a firm refusal or rejection of something. Like you offer me something and I say, that is a like what would come at the end of that? This is a phrase, okay? So you're rejecting an offer, and you would say, yeah, that is a or I'm going to take a on that. It's two words, all right? It's a phrase. And like I said, I think this is a good phrase. It's kind of casual, probably one that maybe you've heard of. But I didn't realize that it's something that was just added to one of the dictionaries. But because of that, I did want to share it with you. So, okay, talk to the hand. No, not talk to the hand, even though that's a good phrase. Denied. Again, that's been in the dictionaries. That is in the dictionaries. Turn down is a common phrasal verb. Okay, Caroline, Ralph, you're on the right track. You both use the word pass. So pass is part of the phrase. So if it's a firm refusal, you'd say, oh, that is a pass. What word would go with pass? It's a firm refusal, all right? I'm kind of giving you a little bit more of a hint. A go away? No, close. No way, no. So pass is part of it, and if it's a firm refusal, you're going to say, I'm going to take a hard pass on that. A hard pass would be that firm refusal. And some of you guys are putting in, again, other phrases that, yeah, they mean the same thing. You could also use a no-go. But yeah, I think a hard pass is a phrase that I've used before. And again, it was in one of those articles. I've left those links down in the description if you'd like to check those out. A refusal is like you're turning down something. You're saying no. And again, you could just say a pass. I'll take a pass. But if it's a firm rejection, you could say, yeah, that's a hard pass. All right, the next one. This is a little more informal, and this is probably maybe more slang, which is why I've kind of put it at the end of the lesson. It's not one that I've used or I was familiar with. I think maybe more common among younger generations. But the definition is an act of bragging or showing off. Okay, and the hint, that is the picture. That is a hint. That's a clear hint, hopefully. And I imagine maybe some of you will get this. What do you think it is? If somebody's bragging, they're showing off, people may use this word. And again, it's not one that I'm more familiar. Wow, you guys are rocking this one. Did you know it, or did you know it just because of the picture? Excellent job, Sleepwalker, ZS, Caroline, Jane, Angela, Yakbenier. Yeah, we're there in this picture. The person is flexing. So a flex is like the act of bragging or showing off. It would be used as a noun, though. When I was looking into this, and they say like, oh, somebody could say, maybe you're bragging about something and they think it's strange. Say, wow, that's a weird flex, or that's a strange flex. Like you're strange that you're bragging about this thing. So I think in this context, it's used as a noun, even though like bragging, to brag is a verb, or to show off. But people will use flex to refer to the act of bragging. All right, let's continue. This is another one that I was not familiar with, and I think flex is it's definitely more informal if you're wondering about it. This one is the action of becoming or acting like an adult. And I think this one is also a little more casual, informal, possibly like a bit of slang. Um, Weird flex, but okay. Yeah, exactly. That's a weird flex. That's kind of how it was used in the article that I was reading. I think they used it in that way if somebody's bragging about something. So, what do you think? The action of becoming or acting like an adult. And in this word includes one of the words in the definition. So, I think by giving you that hint, maybe you'll be able to put it together. And let's see. Yes, Sam got it. I don't, I don't know. I guess some of you, I didn't realize. I don't know. I don't know if any of you opened some of those links beforehand or checking it out as we go through this. That's also a possibility. But yes, the correct answer is adulting. The action of becoming or acting like an adult. I think this word has been more commonly used among like younger generations who I guess are expected to maybe try to act like an adult, or they're trying to pretend like they are, and they could refer to adulting, the action of becoming or acting like an adult. It's a new word for me. It's a new word for 2021. It's been added. It's been added to some of the dictionaries. Now that doesn't mean all of these words have been added to all the dictionaries. I told you this is just a fun, informal vocabulary lesson, really kind of trying to, well, kind of show you how the language has been changing even a little bit. So these are the words that we've talked about in today's lesson. What I'd like you to do is tell me in the comments which is your favorite. Which of these words do you like, or have you heard about, or maybe you've even used before? Let me know down in the comments, because of course I just love hearing from you guys. So I hope some of these words are new. If you'd like to go see like the full list from those websites that I kind of put this together from, you can check that out down in the description. And also, one last reminder, if you're interested, it's last call if you would like to join my speaking course. It's getting ready. Classes are going to start this next week. So this is the last call if you want to join. And remember, you can use the code SPEAK22 to get 22% off. So there are a lot of exciting things planned for this year. I really look forward to it. A lot more lessons to share with you guys. And I just want to say thank you for being with me in 2021. Thank you for letting me be a part of your English learning journey, and I hope that I can continue to be a part of it in 2022. And if you're new here, please check out some of my other video lessons. There's so many different lessons up there. I think I have about 500 video lessons now on YouTube. And again, subscribe to the channel so that I can become your teacher then. That would be great. And yeah, that's kind of all I got. I hope you guys have a happy new year. And of course, I wish you all the best in 2022. So let me give some last shout outs. Say thank you guys for joining. Let's see. Thank you. Angela, Zera, Kela, Cassia, Yakbenir. Speak 22 for 22% off the price. Yes, that's correct. Takayo, good to see you again. Takayo, I will see you soon. Sani, Sam, Lolly. I didn't know any of these words. I told you I was not familiar with many of them as well. I just thought that it would be interesting to share some of these words, and I think some of them will probably continue to be popular into the future. Sam, Jane, thank you guys for being here. Let's see. Somebody from Korea. It's 12:09. Wow, in Korea, you're with me late. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Little midnight English study. I love it. 안녕하세요. So, yeah, okay, I'll just end it. I could keep reading goodbyes all day. Thank you guys for being here.